Hi, everybody. This is Msgr Ritchie once again, coming from St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City, America's Parish Church. Today is Tuesday, and every Tuesday we do questions and answers, questions that have been sent to me on my computer, or those who have been written out for me by people that are usually the virtual parishioners. One of the questions that very often is asked is about the masks that I wear. We have a number of masks that all of the priests wear here in the parish, but because so many people have sent me distinct masks, I wear them just to honor the people who sent them. Today, the mask that I've been wearing comes from one of our virtual parishioners in the far west in Washington State, and it comes from Gonzaga University High School. So that's why I wear that. We also have some Texas Longhorns and Mountaineers, Mountaineers and other masks that people have sent me, and I try to wear them often so that the virtual parishioners can see them. So if you see, doesn't mean I went to Gonzaga or I hope that they win, although I hear that they're a very good team right here and right now. So we'll wish them well as we wear the mask. All right, the first question of this week comes from the Bronx, which I'm really happy to see. I lived in the Bronx for a long part of my life. How long should somebody wait between sending in one submission to your Q&A? You don't have to wait any time. Anytime you have a question that you think would be interesting not only to yourself but also to the virtual parishioners, you can just send it to me. Just to remind everybody, my email is rtrbman, as in boy, man, at AOL.com. RTR means Robert T. Ritchie, my name. B for boy, man for man. And so you can send anytime you want to submit questions for the answers. The second is an interesting one, and I haven't had this question for a long time. What are your memories of November 22nd, 1963, the day that John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and what happened after? How were you told what happened? Did you attend any memorial masses for him? And were you at the seminary at the time? Well, that's a great question. I was in my first year of college in the seminary. It was Cathedral College here in New York City on West End Avenue, and we were at music class. As a matter of fact, the music professor was the organist here at St. Patrick's at the time. His name was Mr. Rivetti, and he, before he began class, he announced that the president had been shot, and we were all tremendously upset, and we didn't learn very much music that day. The following Sunday, I think that was the day that Jack Ruby killed the assassin, and it was on TV and everything, and we were right here at a mass at the cathedral at the time. I don't remember any other masses that I was at, but I remember that one very significantly, and certainly for the funeral, we all watched it on the television. It was a very dramatic time in our lives, and certainly in the life of the country, and a very great trauma to us all. Okay, next question comes from my friend in Canada. Are there any special prayers for St. Joseph and St. Patrick's feast day? Well, the prayers of the Liturgy of the Hours would always be great ones to pray for any saint on the saint's feast day. During this year, we will have a lot of remembrances of St. Joseph because the year is dedicated to him. The Cardinal dedicated the Archdiocese to St. Joseph on his feast day last week, and it was a beautiful ceremony that you can look back on the archives. It's March the 19th of this year. Why during the Mass in the altar there are 3 lighted candles on each side? That's 6 candles. Well, I think we have another one that's similar to that. Ordinarily, in any celebration of the Mass, you have 2 candles. Sometimes you have more than 2, but always at least 2. Here at the cathedral, when the Cardinal is celebrating the Mass, we light 6 candles. And anytime we have a solemnity, even if the cardinal is not celebrating the Mass, we have 6 candles. And again, the larger number of candles is just to indicate the importance of the celebration of the Mass that's happening that day. So 2 would be normal, 6 sometimes on very special occasions, and almost always when the cardinal is celebrating, we have 6 candles lit. Our ancestors had little shrines at home to pray daily and for devotions. How are these home shrines set up to pray? What do they include? Well, again, this is a personal area of piety, personal piety, and many traditions, many ethnic groups would have very specific saints that they would have shrines to in their house or on their lawn outside. It all depends on the person and the person's piety. So there's no rules, there's no special things that have to be in whatever shrine. So whatever devotion that you have to the Blessed Mother, to the Lord, to the Sacred Heart, to the saints, then you set up your private little shrine in your house or in front of your house the way you want it. It's all good, and it's all an expression of the devotion of the people that are called Catholics. My friend in California, understanding the appointment of Msgr is granted to clergy of outstanding works. All right. Okay, again, I think I've answered this in the past. The title of Msgr is a title of honor given to a priest, technically from the Holy Father in Rome, but suggested by the local ordinary or the local bishop to the office in Rome, and the person receives this honorary title, sometimes because of some special work that the person was involved in, sometimes because of the job that the person has to indicate that he is an honored person. So Msgr is a title of honor that was given to me when I first came here at St. Patrick's in 2006. Okay. Another one from California. The Sabbath day. Very good question. The million-dollar question. Is the Sabbath day Saturday or Sunday? We as Catholics observe Sunday as the day of rest, or are we commemorating the first day of the week liturgically? Well, as the commandment is to keep the Sabbath, honor God on the Lord's day. That's what we call it. The Sabbath is directly from the Hebrew, meaning the 7th day. So even now, Jewish people celebrate the Sabbath day as their day of worship and as their day of rest. When the church was first established, when the apostles started to go out and preach to the nations and baptize people in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, little by little, the divergence began separating the new institution or the new followers of Jesus as the church from the synagogue where they all had come from and where they always celebrated Saturday. So instead of to indicate the distinction of the new group of Christians who all had Jewish roots, instead of celebrating the Lord's Day on the Sabbath, they established a new day, a new celebration of the Lord's Day on Sunday, because that was the day that the Lord was raised from the dead. So we celebrate every Sunday the resurrection of Christ from the dead, and that has become the Lord's Day for us, and that we are to keep holy and to make it very special. So, another question. Someone likes our homilies. I'm very happy. Okay, here it is. I really like those green masks you wear. I don't see them listed in the gift shop. Are they available? I would happy to buy one. Well, we have one of the masks that I have is a green one, and it has a circle with the seal of St. Patrick's Cathedral on it. It was made for the trustees of the cathedral. That's the group of men and women who are the ultimate owners of the cathedral as far as the technicalities of the law are concerned. And they are the ones that keep us going and keep us focused in our mission. And so I was given a couple of their masks to wear to indicate that the trustees are very much part of what we do here every day when we live stream the Mass. By the way, my heritage is Irish, so of course I love everything at St. Patrick's. Okay, so this lady enjoyed our concert, and again, the Irish concert is in our archives. We do it every year. This year, obviously, it was done by virtually. So if you haven't seen it yet, I urge you to go back into the archives and see the St. Patrick's Irish Heritage Concert. And this lady indicates, even though she goes back to her local church, she still is part of our virtual community. And that's a beautiful thing, and it makes me really feel great when I hear that, because in many parts of the country, people are able to go back to their churches, again, socially distanced, and all of the difficulties that the rules will make for people's lives. But even though people can physically go back, many of them still tune in to us and are a part of our virtual congregation, and I'm very happy about that. And as I've said many times, we will keep this going as long as we possibly can. And as far as I know, even when when we turn that ultimate corner, which I hope will happen sooner rather than later, we will still continue to have live streaming of some of our services. Okay. Oh, we did that last week. I noticed there's a stairwell behind the altar which priests go down after Mass. Behind the altar there is a staircase going down, and that's the staircase that goes to the sacristy, where the priests get dressed and prepare for the Mass. Also, immediately under the altar, and I think I said this last week, immediately under the altar is the crypt, the tombs of the former archbishops of New York who have died. They're all there. In addition, we have two of the rectors, and we have the tomb of Pierre Toussaint, who was a Haitian. He was a slave in Haiti, came to America, and became free, and became a great Catholic philanthropist and helper of Catholic charities and Catholic education. Okay. And John says live streaming is a blessing. It's not only is it a blessing for you, it's a blessing for us, because we realize how very, very important the celebration of the Eucharist is, and it makes the priests realize that what we are doing is something that is way beyond ourselves and is a great contribution to the Catholics of America and the Catholics of the world, because there are people from all over the world who are tuning in to us. My question is, I want to learn about the life and teachings of the Fathers of the Church. Can you recommend any books or resources that I can use? That is, again, a great question. Father King is our Master of Ceremonies, and he was Professor of Patristics at St. Joseph's Seminary in Yonkers. And he suggested a book about the Fathers, and the author of the book is Father Boniface Ramsey, R-A-M-S-E-Y. So if you go on Amazon and you put that name and you just look at the various titles, there will be one that indicates it's a book about the Fathers of the Church, and very well done and good for everybody at almost every level. Another person asked, what is the Church's stand on the donation of organs? Well, the stand of the Church is a very open one that says this is a great blessing that we can give to other people if at the time of our death we give our eyes or our heart or whatever organs that we have to extend the life of other people. It's a wonderful thing, it's a blessing, and the Church is all in favor of it. Even during our lifetime, sometimes there are organs that we can give to others in terribly difficult situations, and if that again is something that would be fine as an act of Christian charity toward other people. We have one of our wonderful Catholic priest here in the Archdiocese who's going through a very difficult health time. His name is Father Thomas Lynch, and during his younger days, he donated one of his kidneys to his brother, and he's an organ donor. And every year we have a special celebration, a prayer celebration. It's called the Trio Prayer Celebration for people who have either given an organ or who have received an organ. And the church, under good times, would be jammed with so many wonderful people who are grateful to God for receiving the organs, or grateful to God for being able to give their organs to another person. So it's a great, if we were Jewish, we would call it a mitzvah, a very, very good deed for someone else. And it is, whether you say it in English or in Hebrew or in Yiddish, it still is a wonderful thing, a blessing for the person and a blessing for the person who gave and the person who received. This is a little bit of a funny one. Cardinal Dolan announced at Mass last fall, 2020, that you were running in the New York City Marathon. Why did you start running? What is your best marathon finish time? And how often does Cardinal Dolan join you in the run? Okay, well, there are a lot of questions there. Let me just tell you how it all began. When I was first here in 2006, I would go out on the steps of the cathedral at the end of Mass and greet the people as they're leaving and say goodbye to them. So this one Saturday night, we had a Mass at 5:30. I was standing on the steps, shaking people's hands and saying goodbye. Hopefully we'll be able to do that someday. I don't know when. So a man came up to me and he said, "Hey, Father, would you bless me, because I'm going to be in the marathon tomorrow?" "Oh, sure, bless you, bless you." "Father, can you bless my shoes? I'm going to be in the marathon tomorrow." About 10 people came to me at the end of that Mass in 2006. And I said to myself, I put my pastoral hat on, and I said, you know what, next year maybe we'll have a special Mass for the marathon runners. So beginning in 2007 and going up even till last year, we would have Masses the night before the marathon, and we would invite people who are going to be running in the New York City Marathon to come to the Mass and receive a blessing. So the first year we had 20, maybe 30 people, and it got bigger and bigger. Finally, it got so big that this entire sanctuary, 400 or 500 runners are here, and they go down the aisles. It's become such a great blessing, and it's something that we have been doing and will continue to do as long as the marathon keeps going. So each year, the runners who were here would say, "Hey, Father, why don't you run with us?" And I would say, "Oh, I can't. I had pretty arthritic knees at the time," and I said I couldn't. But every year, people insisted, and as we got bigger and bigger crowds, it became more and more difficult to say no. So finally, in 2015, after a number of years of having the Mass and having the question made, "Why don't you run with us?" I finally said, at the end of the blessing, I said, "You know what? Next year, I'm going to do it. I'm going to run." So I left the altar, went and took off my vestments, and I said, "What the heck did you just say?" And I was kind of saying to myself, I don't know how this is ever going to work out. So in the meantime, I had my 2 knees replaced. So I have 2 replacement knees and artificial knees. And so the arthritis is no longer there, but the knees are there, and it would be very difficult to run with them, or so my doctor tells me. So I went to one of my godsons who was a marathon runner. He's done at least 10 of them. And I explained the whole thing, and he said, "Well, listen, I can help you train for that." So I went to my doctor and explained that this is what I wanted to do. And he said, "Well, you can't. You cannot run, because if you do run, you're going to destroy those 2 knees that you have." That's what he said. And I believe him. But he said, "You can walk. So if you can walk the marathon, then I'll give you my permission to do so." So that's what we did. We trained. The New York Road Runners have a program of, that year it was 20 weeks of preparation. So I did that. And My godson helped me with his training tips. And finally, the day arrived, and the first Sunday of November of 2016, my godson and I began the marathon in the bridge in Staten Island. And as soon as I started, I said to myself, I'm going to make this. I'm going to make this. And sure enough, by the end, we finished the marathon, 26.2 miles. But my time, now anyone who's a marathon runner, when you hear this, you're going to throw up your hands. But my time the first year was 7 hours and 41 minutes. But I finished. So consequently, after that, subsequently, I did 3 more marathons. So I have 4 under my belt. And so in 2019, that was my best time, 7 hours and 22 minutes. But again, I finished. So last year, or in 2020, when the marathon was supposed to take place and it was canceled because of COVID, I'm looking at the time, I decided that I would still prepare for it, and I would do it privately in Central Park. If you go around 4 times, you would get the 26.2 miles. So as I trained, but because of COVID, there were so many things that I had to do here at church, I wasn't able to train for the whole period and to get to the mileage that I really needed to feel comfortable in doing 26.2. So I decided that instead, because the farthest I had trained was about 14 miles, so I decided that I would do a half marathon. So in 2020, on November, I think it was November 1st, I did a half marathon, just for the sake of doing it. And I hope in 2021 that we're in now that I'll be able to do it again. And if not, I promise you I'll try to do a virtual one like I tried this year. Cardinal Dolan doesn't come with me on the marathon because either he has to be here or I have to be here. So if I'm not here, then he has to be here. So he can't run in the marathon because of that. Just a couple more questions from Ohio. I was wondering if you could explain why the day Jesus was crucified is called Good Friday. Well, there are a couple of explanations. The final bottom line, I think, is that it was certainly good for all of humanity, for all of the generations of men and women who have lived after Jesus and those who lived before Jesus, because on the cross came our redemption. So it's good for all of us. Now, some people say it's a corruption of God's Friday. I don't know if that's true, but the fact that we call it good is something that should remind us of the fact that it was very, very good. In Spanish, Good Friday is called Viernes Santo, and Holy Thursday, Holy Friday, Holy Saturday. The Spanish word is not good. It's holy for those days. But in English, we call it holy, and hopefully it will remind everybody that something very, very good happened. It was terrible, it was tragic, it was appalling, but the bottom line for all of us is it brought us our redemption. So that's why we're not afraid to call it Good Friday. Okay. From England, a virtual parishioner. Where are the confessionals located in St. Patrick's Cathedral? I've not noticed any that looks like a confessional box. Some churches have reconciliation rooms. Well, we have a number of confessionals. There's one right next to the chancel organ, right here in the back of the cathedral. At the shrine of St. Jean-Baptiste de la Salle, we have 2 confessionals. And at the shrine of St. Anthony, we also have another confessional. During COVID time, because of the difficulties that are extant, we hear confessions in the Lady Chapel behind a screen that has plastic on it, again to protect the confessor and the person who's going to confession. But again, when we turn that corner, we'll go back to using the confessional confessions that we have, and they are in those places in the church. And you can't see them because the cameras don't face that direction. They face this direction. Question 2. It is a milestone year for you as it's coming up to your 50th anniversary of ordination in the priesthood. What amazing achievement, and I thank God for your ministry, especially during this pandemic. Please, could it be possible to share with us a photo of you on your ordination day? Well, my anniversary is May the 29th. I will be 50 years ordained a priest. I was ordained right here, right on the floor, right where my finger is pointing, here at St. Patrick's on May the 29th. And we will have a nice prayerful celebration at the 5:30 Mass. And then next year, before the year is up, before the 50th anniversary is up year, I hope to have a big celebration to thank God for giving me these 50 wonderful, wonderful years of priesthood. After the 5:30 Mass on the 29th of May, I'm going to have a little reception for anybody who's in the church on our patio, if it's a nice day. Okay. Oh, I got to go. So we'll have to come back to the last couple of questions. So thank you all very much, and may Almighty God bless you all, the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. I'll be back in a couple of minutes for Mass, and I am grateful to all of our virtual parishioners throughout the world for their questions and for their interest, and I hope to be able to keep answering your questions. Thank you.